What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Stefan, and tonight I'm going to be talking about and celebrating the historical, influential, and the greatest multi-talented queen of all, the Queen of Soul, the late great Aretha Franklin, on her birthday. So come and join me on this musical ride and birthday tribute for Queen Aretha Franklin. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. Welcome back to the channel if you're a returning subscriber. Also, don't forget to turn on your notification for new videos. Now, here we go to the tribute. Happy heavenly birthday to the greatest, influential, multi-talented, beloved, historical, and undisputed queen of music, Miss Aretha Franklin, who would have turned 80 years old this year. When it comes to who had the most persistent influence on artists and music, Miss Aretha always comes first, along with her life-changing impact. Aretha Franklin's voice, bred from gospel, blues, and jazz American tradition that reached glory because they had overcome America itself, made a difference. It was, however, of a gospel song she loved called How She Got Over. Aretha helped define the American experience. In her voice, we can all feel our history, all of it in every shade, our pain and our power, our darkness and our light, our quest for redemption, and our hard-won respect. Aretha Franklin was an artist of passion, sophistication, and command, whose recordings remain anthems that define soul music in Black America. Aretha Franklin was one of the giants of soul music and indeed of American pop as a whole. More than any other performer, she improvised soul at its finest. She was a traumatic child, a teenage mother, a gospel prodigy, and a civil rights champion. She channeled a world of pain into a sound of her own, but until the end, the greatest singer of her generation remains a mystery. Aretha Franklin's legacy isn't just a uniquely powerful voice. It's in how she used it to amplify the civil rights and women empowerment movements, in the process becoming a social, political icon in her right. But behind her powerful ballads lays heartache, torment, and an unfulfilled desire to find true love. She began her career as a child singing gospel at the New Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, where her father, C.L. Franklin, was a minister. At the age of 18, she embarked on a music career as a recording artist for Columbia Records. While her career didn't immediately flourish, she found acclaim and commercial success once she signed with Atlantic Records in 1966. Commercial hits such as I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, Respect, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Change a Fool, Think, and I Say a Little Prayer propelled her past her musical peers. She continued to record acclaimed albums such as I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You in 19 1967. Lady Soul, 1968. Spirit of the Dark, 1970. Young, Gifted, and Black, 1972. Amazing Grace, 1972. And Sparkle, 1976. Before experiencing problems with the record company, she left Atlantic in 1979 and recorded with Arista Records. The singer appeared in the 1980s film The Blues Brothers before releasing the successful albums Jump to It in 1982, Who, Zoomin' Who in 1985, and Aretha in 1986 on the Arista label. In 1998, she returned to the top 40 with the Lauryn Hill produced song A Rose Is Still a Rose. Later, she released an album under the same name. Aretha Franklin recorded 112 charted singles on the U.S. Billboard charts, including 73 Hot 100 entries, 17 top 10 pop singles, 100 R&B entries, and 20 number one singles. Besides the foregoing, the singer well-known hits included Ain't No Way, Call Me, Don't Play That Song, Don't Play That Song, You Lied, Spanish Harlem, Rock Steady, Daydreaming, Until You Come Back to Me. That's all. That's what I'm gonna do. Something He Can Feel, Jump to It, Freeway of Love, Who, Zoomin' Who, I Knew You Was Waiting for Me, A Duet with George Michael. Aretha Franklin won 18 Grammy Awards, including the first 8 awards given for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance from 1968 to 1975. A Grammy Awards Living Legend Honors, and a Lifetime Achievement Award. It was a road dotted with milestones: 18 Grammys, more than 75 million records sold, a 1987 introduction into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the first female performer including hits that included Respect, Think, Freeway of Love, Who, Zoomin' Who, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, appearances in movies such as The Blues Brothers, and a heavyweight title that no one can ever take away from her, the Queen of Soul. The fourth of 5 children, Aretha Louise Franklin was born on March 25th, 1942 in Memphis, Tennessee, to Baptist priest Reverend Clarence LaVon C.L. Franklin and Barbara Siggers Franklin, a gospel singer. Her parents separated by the time she was 6, and 4 years later, her mother succumbed to a heart attack before Aretha's 10th birthday. The family relocated to Detroit, Michigan when she was 5 years old, and Detroit became her permanent home. C.L. Franklin eventually landed at New Bethlehem Baptist Church, where he gained national renown as a preacher. Her musical gifts became apparent at an early age. Largely self-taught, she was widely regarded as a child prodigy, a gifted pianist with a powerful voice. She got her start singing in front of her father's and congregation. At the age of 14, she recorded some of her earliest tracks at his church which were recorded by a small label as the album Songs of Faith in 1956. She also performed with CL Traveling Renewal Show, and also while on tour befriended gospel greats such as Malia Jackson, Sam Cooke, and Claire Ward. At the age of 12, she became a mother for the first time with a son, Clarence, a second child, Edward, following 2 years later. Both sons taking on her family name. She later will have 2 more sons, Ted White Jr. and Cav Cunningham. During this time, she will occasionally travel with the Soul Stirrers. As a young gospel singer, Aretha Franklin spent summers with the gospel circuit in Chicago. The late great Dino Washington declared a young Aretha as the next one. Her influence in her youth included Marvin Gaye, Ray Charles, and Sam Cooke as her influence. Also, more importantly, James Cleveland, known as the king of gospel music, who helped focus her early career as a gospel singer. Cleveland been recruited by her father as a pianist for the Southern California Community Choir. After a brief hiatus, Aretha returned to performing and followed heroes such as Dino Washington and Sam Cooke into pop and blues territory. In 1960, with her father's blessing, she traveled to New York where after being caught by several labels such as Motown and RCA, she signed with Columbia Records, who released the album Aretha in 1961. Her stint with Columbia Records was a failure. Columbia Records failed to fully showcase her intense talent. In 1966, her and her new husband and manager Ted White decided a move was in order, where she signed to Atlantic Records, where her success started to change. In 1967, she traveled to Alabama to record at Fame Studios and recorded the song I Never Loved a Man the Way I Loved You, backed by Muscle Sean's rhythm section. She only spent 1 day recording at Fame as an altercation broke out between her manager and her husband Ted White. Studio owner Rick Hall and a home player and a section were abandoned. The song was released in the following month and reached number 1 on the Billboard charts while peaking at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving her top 10 pop single. The song B-side Do Right Woman, Do Right Man reached R&B Top 40, peaking at number 37. Respect was originally Otis Redding's song, but Aretha modified it with a supercharged introduction with the spelling out of the title song. Her version was released in April and reached number 1 on the R&B and pop charts. Respect became her signature song and later hailed as a civil rights and feminist anthem. Upon hearing her version, Otis Redding said, "That little girl took my song away from me." Her Atlantic debut album, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, became commercially successful, going gold. Respect and empowerment cover of an Otis Redding track reached #1 on the R&B and pop charts and won her first 2 Grammys, including the debut category for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. She also had top 10 hits with Baby, I Love You, Think, Fools, A Chain of Fools, I Say a Little Prayer, Sweet Sweet Baby, Since You've Been Gone, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Her chart dominance soon earned her the title Queen of Soul, while at the same time she became a symbol of black empowerment during the civil rights movement. In 1968, she issued the top-selling albums Lady Soul and Aretha Now, which included some of her most popular hit singles, included Chains of Fool, Ain't No Way Thing, I Say a Little Prayer. Also, in 1968, she was enlisted to perform at the funeral of Dr. Martin Luther King, which during she paid tribute to her father's fallen fame with a heartbeat rendition of Precious Lord. Later that year, she was selected to sing the national anthem for the Democratic International Intervention in Chicago. Among this newfound success, she began experience turmoil in her personal life, and she and Teddy White divorced in 1969, but this didn't slow down her recent rise. And the new decade brought more hit singles such as the top 10 singles Spanish Harlem, Rocksteady, and Daydreaming. Some of the releases were acclaimed from Spirit and from the acclaimed album Spirit in the Dark and Young, Gifted, and Black. In 1971, she became the first R&B performer to headline Fillmore West. Later that year, releasing the live album Aretha Live at the Fillmore West, spawned by Malaya Jackson passing and an urge of interest in gospel music. She returned to original musical auras for the 1972 album Amazing Grace, which sold more than 2 million copies and went on to become the best-selling gospel album of all time. The live performances were filmed for a concert film directed by Cindy Bola, but due to tension problems and her own attempts to prevent the film distribution after Hollywood refused to promote a dark-skinned black woman as a movie star at the time. Her career began to experience some problems while recording this album Hey Now Hey, which featured production from Quincy Jones. Despite the success of the single Angel, the album bombed upon its release in 1973. She continued to have R&B success with songs such as Until You Come Back to Me, I'm in Love. Along the way, she took home a record-breaking 8 consecutive Grammy Awards for Best R&B female vocal performance. The last comment for her 1974 single, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing. But her albums were no longer top sellers. Her sound was fading into the background with the onset of the disco craze and an emerging set of young black singers such as Shaka Khan and Donna Summer begun to eclipse her career. She did, however, find a brief despite from slump sales with the returning 76 soundtrack to the Warner Brothers film Sparkle, which topped the R&B charts and top 20 in pop. The album gave her final top 40 hit of the decade, Something He Can Feel, which also peaked at number 1 on the R&B charts. In 1978, she also married actor Glynn Turman. They separated in 1982 after she returned to Michigan from California, and they divorced in 1984. A string of chart failures ended her relationship with Atlantic in 1979. In the same year, her father was hospitalized after a burglary attempted left him in his home, left him in a coma. As her popularity wandered and her father's health declined, she also saddled with a massive bill from the IRS. She was performing at the Atlantic Hotel in Las Vegas on June 10th, 79, when her father, CL, was shot twice at point-blank range in his Detroit home. After 6 months at Henry Ford Hospital while still in a coma, CL was moved back into his home with 24-hour nursing care. She moved back to Detroit in late 1982 to assist the care of her father, who died at Detroit's New Light Nursing Home on July 27, 1984. However, a cameo in the 1980s film The Blue Brothers helped her revive her flagging career, performing Think alongside comedians John Pesci and Dan Aykroyd, exposed her to a new generation of R&B lovers, and she soon signed to Arista Records. Her first album, the 1980s Aretha, featuring the number 3 R&B hit United Together, and her Grammy-nominated cover of Otis Redding, I Can't Turn You Loose, and her follow-up, the 1981 Love All the Hurt Away, included her famed duet with the track title with George Benson, while the album included her Grammy-winning cover of Sam and Dave's Hold On, I'm Coming. She achieved a gold record for the first time in 7 years with the 1982 album Jump to It, an album that enjoyed huge success on the R&B charts and earned her a Grammy nomination. The album title track was her first top 40 single and on the pop charts in 6 years. The following years, she released Get It Right, produced by Luther Vandross in 1985. She, inspired by a desire to have a younger sound in her music, Zoomin became her first Arista album to be certified platinum. The album sold over 1 million copies thanks to the hits Freeway of Love and the title track and Another Night. The next year's Aretha album nearly matched the success with the hit singles Jumpin' Jack Flash and Jimmy Lee and I Knew You Were Waiting for Me, her international #1 duet with George Michaels. In 1987, Aretha Franklin became the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and also was awarded a honorary doctorate from the University of Detroit. That same year, she released the album One Lord, One Faith, One Baptist, which she won the Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance. Following another related quarterly period in her career in 1993, she was invited to sing at the inauguration of Bill Clinton. In the following year, she received both a Lifetime Achievement Award and Kennedy Center Honors. She will also be the multiple focus of multiple documentaries and tributes at the decade progress. Near its conclusion, she reprised her former roles in Blues Brothers 200, releasing the gold-selling A Rose Is Still a Rose, and stood in for Luciano Pavarotti, who was too ill to accept his Lifetime Achievement Award with her rendition of Nessun Dorma, commanding stellar reviews. In 2003, she released her final studio album on Arista called So Damn Happy, and left the label to find Aretha's records. 2 years later, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom and became the second woman ever to be inducted in the UK's Music Hall of Fame. In 2008, she received her 18th Grammy Award for Never Gonna Break My Faith, a collaboration with Mary J. Blige, and also was tapped to sing at the 2009 presidential inauguration of Barack Obama. With 18 Grammys under her belt, she was one of the most honored artists in Grammy history. On August 12th, 2018, it was reported that a gravely ill Aretha was bedridden in her Detroit home, surrounded by family. As news as her condition spread, more people paid a visit to express their well wishes, including Stevie Wonder and Jesse Jackson. 4 days later, on the morning of August 16th, she succumbed to her illness, which her family revealed to be pancreatic cancer. A public viewing was held later that month at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, where fans camped out overnight for the chance to pay their respects to the iconic singer. Her televised funeral was set to be held in the city Greater Grace Temple on August 31, with Stevie Wonder, Shaka Khan, and Jennifer Hudson among the scheduled performers. Jesse Jackson, Bill Clinton, and Smokey Robinson highlighted as the list of speakers. After being pushed several times back, Respect was released on 2021. Aretha Franklin handpicked singer and actress Jennifer Hudson to play her in a biopic. Aretha Franklin embodied American black culture proudly and unapologetically, and through a sheer force of talent thrust into the global stage. Aretha Franklin revolutionized black music in a way it was observed and perceived. Her musical influence is undeniable, amazing, incredible, trailblazing that produced so many R&B greats that follow her like Beyonce, Adele, Fantasia, Mary J. Blige, Luther Vandross, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, etc., etc. She absolutely is the sound of Detroit. She lifted up the city and represented in a global way. Even when Aretha Franklin tame pop songs, her voice bursting with passion and emotion and raw power evacuated the material. Otis Redding, James Brown, Ray Charles, and other artists of the decade couldn't match her range and prowess over pop, soul, jazz, rock, and gospel. Her singing was about force, finesse, and fearless. Over the past 66 years, Aretha Franklin built an astonishing legacy that set the highest standard in soul music. She earned the title Queen of Soul with a staggering run of instant classics. Her crown was never tarnished or threatened. There's still no voice like Aretha Franklin. She embodied the ideal of what soul music was and would become. The most influential and celebrated singer of our time and generation. Thank you, Queen Aretha, for everything you did, your lovely presence and influence. Happy heavenly birthday, and continue to rest peacefully in God's kingdom, Queen. We forever love, appreciate, remember, and miss you so much, but we will never forget you. Thank you for enjoying this ride with me throughout the video. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video. Subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to turn on your notification for new videos. Stay safe and blessed always. Have a good night. God bless you. I'm out. Peace.